Alrighty. I'm just gonna get into it because there's no point in waiting. So, basically, I came here to talk about the keep your legs closed thing, the shaming and basically the reasoning that a lot of red pill men use to shame single mothers or women who, are basically damaged from past and crappy relationships. And I really wanted to talk about this because it really bothers me when people try to judge women for the sexual choices that they make. But I don't really feel like there's much energy put into the men who insert their genitalia into these women. And it's just something that really bugs me. um, and it really bugs me because, truth be told, men do not want us to do this. Um, Men are notorious for pushing sex. They love sex. Men love sex. It is one of the biggest reasons why they get into committed relationships with women. It is the reason why they will leave their committed relationship with women. And it's also very vital to men's survival to push and distribute their sperm as widely as possible. So yeah, men love sex, and some will do very strange things to get this sex. I know a lot of people are gonna hate me saying these things, um, but I really don't care. I never gave a fuck. So men will do some strange things to get sex sometimes. Not all men, but some men will do these things. One of these things being coercion. And I want to talk about coercion because a lot of men don't understand that this is a form of rape, whether you like it or not. It is sex that occurs because of pressure, being tricked, threatened, or forced. So some examples of that are like, oh, like, like I really get like, horny. So like, would you like please suck it? Like, please, 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 just this one time. Like, if I eat you out, will you? Like, please, even though she's already said no, making you feel like it's too late to stop. Like, oh, like you were just sucking me. Why can't you just let me stick it in? You might as well. We've already come this far. It's threatening to expose or just threatening them in general, slander their name in any sort of way. These are also forms of coercion. Making promises like, I can connect you with people in a lot higher positions, or obviously I wouldn't be having sex with you if I didn't fuck with you. Like, obviously I like you and I want to be with you. Why else would I be here at 10 o'clock at night? um and yeah, coercion isn't really often talked about because it's just assumed that she agreed with the sex. um but the things listed are very deceitful and abusive ways of getting that sex, and therefore making it not really fully consensual. If she's not like hell fucking yes, it's a hell fucking no. Okay. And that's something that I just really wanted to get off right off tops, because a lot of men don't even realize that they're really sitting here trying to convince a girl to have sex with them. And not even in the way that they think it is, because like, oh, I only asked her a few times and she said no, so I gave it up. Or like, I asked a couple times and she finally said yes, but asking more than once is obvious that she doesn't want to. So stop trying to make her. And that is the easiest way to get a rape case on you. Straight the fuck up. And I tell all of these men this because, especially the boys at this college, because that's something that a lot of men just don't seem to grasp and understand, is that if you have to try to convince her to do it with you, she doesn't want to do it with you. And some dudes, I know that's part of the reason why they don't try to approach women, because like, oh, I don't want a case on me. But you can just ask once, and if she says no, okay, then I'll just try again another day. But it's the pressuring and the trying to really convince her, oh, it'll be worth it, like, I'll make you feel good, all that. Still coercion. Yes, it is. Another one is love bombing. This is something that a lot of men will do. A lot of men will start, when you guys first start talking, he will be in your face constantly, girl. When I say he's going to talk to you till the wheels fall, like he's going to make sure he texts you and calls you. And every time you want to hang out, he's going to come kick it. Okay? He wants to be all up in your face. He's going to hit your line a lot. He's going to start making a lot of promises like, oh, like I really want to be with you and I really want to, get to know you. And I really am just loving this vibe. I love it. This is great. Lots of, extravagant compliments and gifts as he's just gifting you very, very randomly. This is something that he might be trying to do in order to get in them pants. Compliment, oh, you so beautiful, you so this, all the time. And I'm not just saying, when you look good, he says something. No, but like 50 compliments in a day, trying to make you feel so good, so amazing when you're with him. And also resisting boundaries. Like if you say you're not comfortable with things, they'll still, oh, like let's just make out a little bit more. Please, can you just rub it a little bit? Even though you said that you're not comfortable with that. And things of those sorts. Or saying that, oh, I want to spend a couple days apart, and he still pulls up to see you. That's another one. So those are just a few tactics that men will use to try to have sex with you, and in my opinion, proves very difficult for some women to say no or even feel safe enough to resist that that sexual advance. Another thing is that a lot of women have been sexually abused by the time they're 18, and early childhood abuse, even with years and years of therapy, can still very much cause things like really the biggest things are 4 things that will happen. She will either develop a fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response. And women who react with a fawn or freeze response are not very good at defending themselves. They're typically not women who are easily going to say no because of trauma that they've experienced when they're younger. And again, this can continue even with therapy. Okay, and it also causes a lot of lack of self-esteem and lack of self-defense, even if it's not physical, but even just verbal, like really standing up for herself is hard. And these are the women that are targeted. From my experience and from things that I've seen, studies that I've read, these are typically the women who are targeted for these intense sexual advances and not being able to resist them. And then when weak women are targeted and fall for the trap, they're shunned. And especially if they come out with a child at the end of this trap, they're shunned and made to feel like shit. And a lot of the time, these women were very much like manipulated. Weak women are easy to manipulate and therefore easy to get your way with them. And because of that, I just don't understand why, women who obviously are not in the strongest state of mind are treated so harshly. And obviously, everyone's life is their life. If they choose not to get help or get better after that, that's on them. But I think that it's still something that needs to be talked about, is that weak women are targeted and then made to feel like shit for the shit that they went through. And it just doesn't make sense. And really, my question is that why are we not teaching men to preserve their sperm and their sex the same way that we, as women, are told to preserve ours? I think there's an astonishing issue with men not being held responsible for their sexual actions. Men typically, especially with the sexual economics theory construct that a lot of men follow and believe in, is that their sexual actions don't really have value or are really unimportant to issues, especially when it comes to single mothers. And they also have the idea that it's women's fault if the man leaves. Like, oh, if you're a single mother, well, actually, let's reverse. If we're talking about in the context of single women specifically and single mothers, not single women, but single mothers in specific. They're usually coined as promiscuous. And many men have the idea that their sexual actions have no value or unimportant to this issue because a lot of men follow the sexual economics theory And this basically, part of that theory is that men's sexual activity is pretty much of no value. It doesn't matter. It's unimportant. But a woman's is at a very high value. And once she does something to lower that, or, has sex, has a child, her value of, like, the value of her body and the value of her as a person diminishes. That is by sexual economics theory. You can watch some videos about that if you'd like. Dr. Grande has a very good video about sexual economics theory. If you guys don't understand that and how a lot of people have that internalized theory. There's also this idea that it's really the woman's fault if a man leaves, with the argument that they're not leaving the women, or they're not leaving the child, but they're leaving the woman. And if it's about the woman, I really have a few questions. If it's about the women, why do so many children say that they've never even met their father? Never even met the father. But they're like, oh, I just don't want to deal with that woman. So it's like, so you didn't even attempt to meet your child? The other question, if it's about the women, why do men still refuse to pay child support or fight for custody of their children? Like, I understand that it is expensive to go to court and try to fight for your child, but I feel like the reward and the aftermath of having the child that you claim that you love, it's just the mother who you can't deal with anymore. You can fight for sole custody of your child. My dad did it. It's very possible to get sole custody of your child, and it's worth it in the end to have your baby than to have a child with no father. And for Black men in specifics, my question, because we already know that there is a very high single mother rate in the Black community. So my question is, why is it that no matter what race of women you guys end up going to, there is always a very long trail of baby mothers in the wake? If it's about the woman and not the child, why do so many Black men still leave their child, no matter where they come from, no matter what race the mother is? The father is almost nowhere to be found if that father is Black. And this is why I feel like we need to pay more attention to men's sexual health, to men's sexual health and the sacredity of it, because this has nothing to do with the women and everything to do with men not being responsible for their sex lives. My issue is not with two consenting adults having sex. It's the fact that there's no thought put into this. There's no thought about potential outcomes of potential outcomes, or dangers and threats of being involved with this woman after you decide that you want to have sex with her. A man has unprotected sex with a woman, for example, and gets an STD. The woman is the one who is called dirty and filthy and says that she's this and that and she's a whore and a this and a that. But she was not dirty when you pursued her and engaged in sexual activity for her. And probably, if you're one of the men who like to push the issue, probably really, really, really was interested in having sex with her and tried to press the issue of doing so. She wasn't dirty when you stuck your wiener in her without a condom, without even a thought for a condom. And it just blows my mind. And she also wasn't dirty when you picked her out of a room of a bunch of potentially not dirty women. So if she's dirty by your standards, I'd consider you filthy. Personally, I'd really consider that man filthy. Because why would you then, you don't know this woman, you don't know her very well even, and you just decide you're going to stick your winker in her. And she's dirty? Why? There's two people in this sex, and even if she really, really, really wanted to do it, you could have still put on a condom, because, I don't know who you be all up on or whatever. Or simply even suggest that she give you a blowjob. Like, there's other options here. There's other options. Or there's also she came on to me. She pursued me. So yeah, I did it with her. Okay. Every advance doesn't need to be taken. But that's exactly why you're stuck with the clap. Because you're being stupid. You're being unwise with your dick. Okay? So, last and final example that I have here is that if the woman gets pregnant, because this is a lot of times what happens when men just stick their pee-pee in women unprotected. It's not about, oh, she said she was on birth control. It's not about, oh, I didn't know she was on that she wasn't on birth control. And it's not anything else, any other excuse that you could possibly think of. Oh, I didn't know. She didn't ask me to put a condom on. You know how many men I hear say, she didn't ask me to put a condom on. You should want to put a condom on. You don't know this woman. You have no intentions on being with her. You didn't even ask for proof to make sure that she was on birth control. It would have been as simple as like, oh, let me feel the implant in your arm, or well, let me see the pack of pills that you're taking. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. It's about that you chose not to have common sense and wrap it up, or simply even pull out. Pull out. If y'all just gonna be out here sticking your pee-pee in people raw, pull out. I know it's not the most effective method, but it's a lot more effective than just nutting in her and hoping that she does what you want her to do in the end. Like, you just assume that she's gonna take a plan B after the fact. She's probably not. She's probably not. Are you gonna go buy that birth control pill for her? Probably not. So maybe don't put it in her raw if you don't plan on buying that $50 plan B after y'all are done doing the deed. Yeah. And even if she says she's on birth control, you should wear a condom anyway, because women are sneaky. If we're going off of the standards that a lot of these red pill men are upholding, women are sneaky, women are liars, and women are out to get you at every chance. So if this is how we feel, why are we sticking our pee-pees in people willy-nilly? I want to know. For men who preach that they don't want promiscuous women and the latter and maybe everything else, why is it almost a mission to have sex with as many women as possible? We need to raise the standards for ourselves, men. and women too. Now I guess we're just gonna get into the women part of this, is that while they don't want us to keep our legs closed at the end of the day, women should keep their legs closed, okay? And really, if you like him, I'm just gonna say, if you really like him, you really don't have sex with him. Don't have sex with him. Now, if you feel like, oh yeah, this is just a little whatever, do what you want with that. I still don't think that you should have sex with them. I really don't. But everybody's life is different. I'm not going to sit here and tell women to not have sex. I'm not. I would be a hypocrite if I told women not to have sex, because I've had sex with men who I maybe did not think that I was really going to end up with in the end. Okay, we all do it. Okay, we all make our mistakes and we all do things that we're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it takes a very strong person to be like, okay, like, yes, I really think he's cute and I really think, I like him a little bit, but let me just wait it out. Just wait it out, okay? And if he really likes you, he'll wait a little bit too. Like, and if he really isn't that interested, then whatever, he'll walk away. And then you would have saved yourself a body and also probably a headache, because once you have sex with men, a lot of them start to get very possessive and very territorial of you. And they will start acting strange, ladies. They will start acting strange. They will start acting like we are their wives. They will begin acting like they own us. Now we can't do anything. Now they want our phone passwords and our Facebook passwords and our Snapchat passwords. And yeah, so that's the only thing that I'd say about, especially about women, is the reason why you need to be very careful about who you have sex with is because some men have sex with you and like the wires break in their brain. Okay, and these men are scary. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you that right off bat. Men are scary. Not all of them, but the mass majority, a good 80% of men are very scary, and you shouldn't be so keen to have sex with a man just because he wants to, or just because, because you think that eventually you might be able to get something out of them. I mean, yeah, just wait it out. It's not a rush. We have vibrators and dildos and all the like. There's many ways that you can get your fix without having to, have sex with the first person who wants to have sex with you. Yeah, sex, we can definitely use it to our power, but you have to use sex wisely if that's what you're gonna do. Very wisely. Yeah. I don't really write too many other notes aside from that. Most of this, I was really trying to talk to men and getting them to realize that busting yo PP wide open for every girl is not always the answer. And I believe if we're going to hold women to the standard of saving themselves and having the lowest body count imaginable, then the same should be said for men. I think that the same responsibility should be held to you guys to keep it in your pants and think more wisely about the women who you're laying down with. And like I said, if you are going to lay down with these women, be smart. Be very smart. Be very smart. Think about everything that Donovan Sharp and Kevin Samuels tells you every time you think about wanting to go down with somebody. Maybe she's trying to get me. Maybe she's going to try to trap me. Maybe she's this. Maybe she's that. Like, think everything, think everything imaginable and say, okay, I'm not gonna have sex with her just yet. Okay, let's be smart men. Not the longest live stream in the universe, but we need to be a lot better with our sexual health. And I really think that as men, if you're going to be leaders, you first need to lead by example. If you don't want promiscuous women, stop being promiscuous. So that's that on that. We had a few viewers. Thank you for joining, and I'll speak with you guys in another video.